Files of the internet. My name is Adriana and today I'm here to wrap up Bout of Books 11.0 for you all. The Bout of Books readathons are probably my favorite readathons ever because they're super laid back, and of course I am always ready to jump at the chance to read more than I usually would in a week. So yeah, I participated in Bout of Books 11.0. Of course I did. Why else would I be making this video if I didn't? And in my humble opinion, I had a pretty good reading week, so let's get straight into it. In total, I read 9 books over the course of the week, and the first one that I finished was The Bitter Kingdom by Ray Carson. This is the third and final book in the Girl of Fire and Thorns trilogy. Obviously, because this is the last book in a trilogy, I can't really tell you anything about it synopsis-wise without spoiling the series, so I'll just refrain. But I will say that I really loved this series. It has cemented itself as my third favorite trilogy of all time. It was such a well-written story. I thought the whole series contained a lot of well-written, well-developed themes. I loved the plots that went through each book. This series has extremely well-written characters that I grew to love, and it also gave me a new OTP, which is something to always be happy about. I don't really know what else to say without getting into spoilers, but I really love the way this series wrapped up, and I found this last book extremely enjoyable, and I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. The second book that I finished was Crown of Midnight by Sarah J. Maas, and this was a reread for me. I do think this book is better written than the first one, but sometimes the writing style is on and off for me. But I still really love this book because there's so much action in it. You get to see so much more of Selena in her natural element as an assassin, and there's just a lot of angst and really good things going on in this book. I liked this a lot less over the course of this reread than I did the first time that I ever read it. I don't know why that is, maybe because I've read so much more fantasy between now and when I last read it, but I don't know, I just liked it less. The next thing that I accomplished in the Bout of Books readathon after that was I completed a series. And here's where it gets a little bit weird because technically I finished the last 12 individual volumes of the Fullmetal Alchemist series by Hiromu Arakawa. However, in my official Goodreads challenge, I counted them as bind-ups. So for brevity's sake, I will just say that I read the last 4 bind-ups of the Fullmetal Alchemist series. I love this manga series. It is so well written. It's so epic, and the scale of it is just mind-blowing. The way everything falls into place and the way the entire story builds itself from the ground up is just perfection. For all of the bind-ups, I did not award anything less than 4 stars. And I gave the final 2 bind-ups, or the last 6 volumes, 5 out of 5 stars each. And I definitely recommend this series so much, especially if you want to get into manga or anime. There is a reason why it's one of the classic series. It is so good. After I finished the Fullmetal Alchemist series, I decided to go a very different direction and reread another book, which was Lola and the Boy Next Door by Stephanie Perkins. Before I say anything more, I'm just gonna admit that Stephanie Perkins is not one of my favorite authors, not even one of my favorite contemporary authors. She's just not. But in my opinion, this book right here is her finest work. This is such a good romance, mostly because the 2 main characters are exquisite. Both Lola and Cricket are so unique and so distinctive and so well-rounded that I really love reading about their story. I really love reading about the obstacles that they have to overcome to be with one another. It's just beautiful. But besides Cricket Bell, my favorite thing about this story is how well the themes tie into the overall plot. So I actually ended up loving Lola and the Boy Next Door way more this reread than when I read it the first time. So it's kind of funny how that works out. So after I reread Lola and the Boy Next Door, I thought I'd just continue on in the expected direction and read Isla and the Happily Ever After, also by Stephanie Perkins. However, and I do not say this lightly, I hated it. For me, even though there were some cute moments in this book, I think the characters killed it. I did not find Josh and Isla's relationship to be satisfying at all because it kind of developed from this super creepy, unhealthy, obsessive crush. And I found their entire relationship to be weird and clingy and obsessive and based on very petty things. And I didn't feel like those things were resolved either, which kept me from liking their story. So I'm not gonna say that I was disappointed by Isla, because disappointed kind of implies that I had some kind of high expectations or standards and they weren't met, but I really didn't. But again, that doesn't mean that it has no value, or that it was written badly, or that it came from a bad place. I just really didn't enjoy it. And if you want to know the honest truth, I ended up giving it 1.5 stars. That's it. So after I finished Isla and the Happily Ever After, I was kind of scrambling for something else to read because I didn't want my read-a-thon to end on such a sour note. So again, I took a very drastic change in reading mood and I read Gris Grimley's Frankenstein. As I'm sure you can guess, this is a graphic novel retelling of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. I really loved the art style in this book a lot. It really reminds me of something like Tim Burton's animation, which, like The Nightmare Before Christmas, is probably my favorite movie ever. And if you like seeing artwork that's super dark and twisted and just a little bit off kilter, I really think the art style in this book would appeal to you. I was actually really surprised because the ratio of text to pictures is very weighted in text's favor. Overall, there is more writing than drawing, but it's not just any writing, it's actually the original text, verbatim. And there's so much of the original text. I think that's what makes it really special. I think this is a really good introduction to the story, or if you need a refresher course, it's really good. So I ended up giving this a 4 out of 5 stars, and I really enjoyed it. So those were the 9 books that I ended up reading over the course of Bout of Books 11.0. And in case you were curious, my page count by the end of the week was 4,053 pages. Basically, I think that's another really good reading week in the bag. If you participated in Bout of Books 11.0, please let me know in the comments section and let me know how you did and what were some of the books that you read over the course of the week. So that is it for this wrap up. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video and thank you so much for watching. I will catch you on the flip side of the page.